Good afternoon, everybody. It is Thursday, March 20th, 2025. Welcome to Logically Left. I am a logical leftist, Jeff Waldorf, and welcome. It's going to be an interesting show, full of rage, full of despair, as usual, because our system is just a complete and utter shit show. So, with that, there will be fun notes. More Republicans getting booed. That's always fun. Carolyn Leavitt being destroyed by a reporter over this whole the attacks on the federal judge that has stopped one of Donald Trump's or is trying to stop one of Donald Trump's things from happening. Yeah. So obviously she's going to get it wrong because she is essentially like a female Joseph Goebbels at this point. So we've got that. We have Tim Walz trolling Elon Musk. That is fun. And then we get, and of course, into anti-trans hysteria. What are they doing in Arkansas? Oh boy, going after hairdressers. Yeah. So we've got that, and then of course we have a Georgetown student being arrested for literally no real reason and no actual evidence that he is involved with terrorism or Hamas. Doesn't matter though. They're just taking people off the streets, making them into political prisoners. So that's what's happening across the country. So before I get into the details of the stories, I do want to thank some members. Let me thank KK, who signed up to become a YouTube channel member. Timothy M, thank you for signing up. Pam, also thank you for signing up. You can become a channel member by hitting the join button below on YouTube. Also, you can become a patron, patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Miguel Gay, thank you for being a member as well, for signing up. Thank you, Bewildered. And thank you, INFP me. So I want to make sure to get that right. Okay. So thank you to all the members that have signed up. Thank you for the patrons as well. Thank you to the patrons and the members for allowing me to continue to do the show. All right. So with that said, please like and share the stream, and we're going to dive in. Propaganda Barbie. Oh boy. Fun times. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt was immediately corrected after she went on the attack against Justice James Boasberg, the Chief Justice of the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. Here she is attacking on Fox News.
And this judge, Judge Boasberg, is a Democrat activist. He was appointed by Barack Obama. His wife has donated more than $10,000 to Democrats, and he has consistently shown his disdain for this president and his policies, and it's unacceptable.
Right where I wanted to go about the idea that these people are all foreign terrorists, but Judge Boasberg was originally appointed by George W. Bush and then elevated by Barack Obama. I just feel like I should clear that up.
Well, let me just
what let you just what lie more, because that's what was going to happen. Okay, so look, here's the thing. That was NBC News's Garrett Haake, and he pointed out correctly, yeah, it actually wasn't an Obama judge. Okay, not that that would matter, because what you have right now is a judge that has been very bipartisan, has ruled in favor of Donald Trump a few times and against Donald Trump a few times. It doesn't matter, though, if you even go against him once. Just once is all it takes. I mean, ask Amy Coney Barrett, okay? Then suddenly you're a traitor, you're a Dem operative, you're a plant. It's absolute ridiculousness, okay? And so he just simply asked, by the way, Hake did, hey, are you sure it's a good idea to impeach a federal judge for just disagreeing with you? Kind of sounds like a bit like, I don't know, weaponization. Just saying, you know. And of course, the answer is the Obama judge, judicial activists. It's ridiculous.
Obama.
There it is. That's the word. That's the word. Obama. Look, we got a bunch of people on the Supreme Court that are actual judicial activists, okay? Again, they are literally given millions of dollars worth of gifts and trips by pro-Trump donors. Okay? You don't think that's a problem? Apparently, nope, totally fine. But if you disagree with Donald Trump just once, impeach, we must get rid of them. You kidding me? No, I wish I was kidding. Look, here's the thing. We know what this is about. Trump's out there ignoring court orders. He's consolidating power in the executive. He's, ignoring the judiciary. He is flouting the Constitution. He's trying to get rid of things like birthright citizenship. Birthright citizenship. And he wasn't kidding when he said, I'm going to go after it. Yeah, no, he's going after it, even though it's clearly unconstitutional. Okay? But you got this lady out there who is basically the North Korean press lady, all right? She's out there lying. She's out there lying. And look, Aaron Parnas, as a lawyer, he's out there correctly calling her a gaslighter. Because that's what she is. Okay, she is a liar. She's a gaslighter. She is out there doing nothing but pro-Trump propaganda. Okay, now the other thing about Boasberg, by the way, he was appointed by, or I should say to the U.S. Foreign Intelligence Service Surveillance Court by none other than Chief Justice John Roberts. John Roberts happens to be one of the bigger Trump enablers that we have. He voted with the others to give Donald Trump full immunity from prosecution. And so, I can't help think, but that's kind of his fault that we're in this situation, along with Merrick Garland, okay, along with just all the different failures along the line to stop Donald Trump from getting to this point. And of course, he got to this point. And yet Roberts is now like, hey, you know what? Maybe threatening to impeach judges that you don't agree with might not be a good idea. To which, of course, the right's like, shut up, stop that. Don't disagree with us. Maybe we'll impeach you too. Oh, boy. Here's his full quote on it, by the way. For more than 2 centuries, it has been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision. The normal appellate review process exists for that purpose. Look, that's a really milquetoast statement from the guy that enabled Donald Trump. But of course, even that statement was enough to elicit rage.
John Roberts says it's not appropriate. It's not an appropriate response to when you disagree with the judge. And it is really a surprise to me that Trump doesn't follow the appropriate protocol when there are rapists and murderers invading our country. Maybe a guy in a robe in D.C. can follow all the protocols, but Trump is the effing president of the United States who protects 300 million plus people. He is a leader who does not have the luxury of opening up his little books to read, oh my God, maybe he didn't do it the right way. Roberts, shut the F up. This is something that a president has to do.
Yes, a president. He has to break the laws and ignore the judiciary and completely usurp all the authority. Well, he has to do it. He has to do it. No. How about Gutfeld? You ought to shut the F up, all right? For one, here's the thing. Rapists and murderers are not invading this country. In fact, they've already been here. They're already here. I know. You've elected one. That's it. That should be the end of that conversation. 100%. But no. Here's the thing, though. Okay, in his argument, Trump might not have the luxury of reading all the laws and stuff. Okay, fine. We know he's a one-pager kind of guy. He can't read anything past the length of a tweet anyway. All right, fine. Okay. He doesn't have to, though. You know why? It's because the court's job to check the president if he does something illegal. It is called the separation of powers. Okay? It is called checks and balances, right? We're supposed to have them. If the president does something illegal or unconstitutional, then the court has to step in and put a stop to it. That's how our system is supposed to work. And that's what we have here. And look, what he did is ignore due process. The people that are getting deported have not had due process. Most of them do not have criminal records. That's it. So why are they getting sent to some El Salvadorian prison with no due process? Why? Why? And it's not just that they're being deported, by the way. They are being disappeared into a notoriously brutal foreign prison camp by our president. So, and one that is conveniently not located in the United States. Why is he doing that? Because he wants to make examples of them, okay? So that every immigrant, and he's openly said this, right? That he would prefer that they self-deport, okay? Because it's going to get nasty. He says it's going to get bad if you don't self-deport. So you just self-deport now, or else you're going to end up like these people. Wow. And so that is, of course, unless they buy Donald Trump's $5 million golden ticket. So either be rich and buy your way in, or we're going to get rid of you. That's the reality of what's going on, okay? And now you do have judges that are fighting back, but that's the problem. They shouldn't have to. This shouldn't be the last guard for democracy, the judiciary. It's not designed for this. It is not designed to move at the pace that Trump has been moving. What you need is Congress. You need Congress to exercise a check, but of course they're not going to do so because they are wholly devoted to defending Donald Trump. So that's what you have here, okay? And you've got Jane Goebbels out here, all the way, by the way, smearing judges who are actually doing that. That's what a lawless regime does. And we are living in a lawless regime. Look, it's good that the reporters are fighting back. They're crediting your record, but I mean, for one, it makes me wonder how long that reporter is going to be allowed to be there, if he's ever going to be allowed to come back. They're not going to do what they did to the AP and kick them out. But then, of course, it also makes you wonder, like, how are we going to stop the lawlessness of this administration if they're just ignoring and smearing judges that are just doing their jobs in simply upholding the law? Scary thoughts. Okay. Scary indeed. Okay. Yes, that prison is absolutely brutal. Yep. Propaganda Barbie. Indeed. She looks crazy. Okay. And so I didn't realize before how insane Representative Harriet Hagman actually looks. Wow. Oh boy. This is going to be something. Okay. GOP Representative Harriet Hagman had a very warm welcome during a recent Wyoming town hall.
DOGE is not dismantling Social Security. And even with reconciliation, we are not allowed to touch Social Security. The work that I have specifically been doing, I am on the Judiciary Committee and the Natural Resources Committee.
I worked for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, helping Wyoming family farmers deal with drought until I was fired a month ago in the mass firings, and despite only having the highest marks in my performance review. In a state where so many farmers rely on government programs for drought and disaster relief, Trump's plans to cut these programs and the people who administer them, coupled with the tariffs, will decimate Wyoming farms and rural communities. What are you doing about that?
I disagree. I disagree. I come from the ag community. I'm well aware of what kind of programs are out there. It's so bizarre to me how obsessed you are with federal government. But here's the thing.
Bam. Oh, I disagree. I disagree. What? That's not an answer. Look, at one point, she had stopped, laughed, and actually began to clap while she was being loudly jeered. Okay. And that was after she defended the work that Doge is doing. Okay. So, I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. Defend Doge. Yeah. That's great. That's a great applause line. Very, very popular, okay, program that's going on. Now, one of the questions that was asked was about the farmers, okay, in that video. Farmers are getting destroyed as a result of the tariffs, the counter tariffs, okay, the canceling of food contracts with US aid, as well as with the USDA, okay, the freezing of funding. So now these agencies, what they would do is that they would buy significant portions of these crops and they send them either overseas, people who are in need, or they use them in the schools. Now that helps farmers, helps the schools, all that stuff. These programs now are completely shut down, or at best on hold, frozen. So now what's going to happen then? Well, I mean, stuff's going to rot in the fields, of course. And the other thing that's going to happen is massive amounts of welfare to the farmers. That's right. USDA is now accepting applications from farmers affected by low commodity prices. Oh, this is part of an aid package that was passed back in December before Trump had taken over, which included $10 billion for economic assistance to the farmers. Congress also passed their own $20 billion in farm aid for natural disasters in 2023 and 2024. So, yeah, farmers are getting ready to get massive amounts of welfare. Of course, Donald Trump is going to go and claim that it's all because of him. I gave you the welfare, and everything is going to be fine. But wait, everything is not fine. Doge is destroying things like Social Security, veterans, the VA, okay? Making it more difficult for people to apply for the benefits that they have earned through their entire lives. People are getting kicked off the program for being too old. Wait a minute, that's messed up. And a lot of other things, okay? They're systematically going in and breaking government. And that is why people are mad. About 500 people packed the Civic Center Auditorium in Laramie, Wyoming. In fact, a local reporter with the Cowboy State Daily. Okay? So, we're not talking about city-slicking liberals, okay? Had estimated that about 3/4 of the crowd were there to oppose her. They wrote that this was a startling dynamic in a state that Trump carried with more than 72% of the vote. This is the same person, by the way, who ousted Liz Cheney. She won in a landslide in the Republican primary. Because Liz Cheney, look, I'm not a huge fan of Liz Cheney, and I'll be honest about that, right? But I do respect that she actually stood up as a Republican and opposed Donald Trump, especially after what happened on January 6th. So it's kind of the minimum that we would expect from Republicans. And not surprisingly, the vast majority of Republicans did not meet the bar. Okay, they went right under the bar. All right, they slid right under it. Well, just when you think they couldn't go lower, they went lower under the barrel. Okay, just there's no bottom to it. All right, and so she replaced Liz Cheney. Republicans were like, yeah, we're going to replace Liz Cheney, even though Liz Cheney is extremely conservative. Her policies, extremely conservative. Didn't matter because she's not a cultist. She's not enthralled to the cult of Trump. And so that's where we're at here, okay? It should be obvious that Democrats don't exactly have a big presence there, okay? But apparently, there might be enough of them. I'm sure there's a few Democrats in that crowd that live there, okay? And in addition to that, of course, there's enough pissed off people that were there to crash Hagman's town hall. I absolutely love it because I love when voters come out of the woodwork, okay, and challenge their Republican representatives. You know, it would have been nice if there weren't Republican representatives because then we wouldn't be in this mess. But, the votes went the way they were. Okay, it went the way that they did, and now we have full Republican control. And now you've got people that, and some who voted for this saying, oh, wait, turns out I don't really like this. Yeah. And again, it's not like her own voters didn't show up. They were all sitting in the front row. Okay. They're sitting in the front row and they were cheering and they had their MAGA hats on and all that stuff. But it seemed like they were a bit outnumbered here in this case, which is funny because there's all this talk about paid Democratic operatives, right? Showing up to these town halls. Well, I talked to one about in Nebraska, okay? Nebraska, and then we got Laramie, Wyoming, okay? What Democrat operatives are showing up to these places? I mean, it's not exactly these are high profile, and it's not exactly like you have a lot of money on the progressive side. Certainly not on the progressive side, certainly not on the lefty side. But I mean, Harris's campaign ended with like millions of dollars in debt. So where's the money here? Okay, where's the money to pay operatives? Okay, I keep asking that question because I think it's an important question. With what money are they hiring operatives? Okay, and where's the evidence of that? And I think you all know the answer here.
Just forget about the evidence.
Exactly. And so, the projection here, by the way, on that argument is great too. Because remember, this is the party that would bus in Tea Party protesters. Yeah. So, I mean, I love the massive projection about all of this. And of course, there's the argument too of, the reason that the fans are not there, which Trump fans were there, by the way, they just weren't showing up, as a majority. Well, it's because they have jobs. So I love the accusation, of course, that, it's the progressives that don't have jobs. But wait a minute, if they're showing up as paid protesters, which they're not doing, but if they were, doesn't that count as a job? Getting paid for it, right? I mean, that would be a job, technically. And the other thing is, because of Doge and Elon Musk, there are thousands of people out there, including veterans, about 6,000 veterans at least, that no longer have jobs because of Musk and Doge. And you know what? They're kind of pissed off about it. A lot of them are, at least. Okay, and they're also pissed off at the planned cuts to Social Security. I mean, look, Doge they're planning to cut Social Security offices. They're trying to cancel the phone service so that you'd have to go into the office itself, and of course they're closing offices. Okay, while he's citing massive Social Security fraud, except that they cannot prove that there's Social Security fraud. Okay, we're not stupid. Okay, he's out there hobbling the program's administration in order to try to make it worse. Why? Well, the ultimate goal is to have people willingly give over Social Security to his rich friends on Wall Street. And it could be Musk because he wants to destroy it because he's a nihilist, but also Donald Trump as well. And so all those people and the people over at Project 2025, of course, have been huge fans of privatization of Social Security. So they want to break government piece by piece so that at the end of the day, they can privatize it and rich people can make a profit off your retirement. And that's if you're lucky enough to get any for yourself. Okay, so I love the town halls. I love seeing them get booed. Okay, that's great. But what would be better is if this energy were actually turned into action. Not just protest. Protest is great. But also channel it into, I don't know, maybe having someone run against these ghouls. And at the end of the day, having them lose their jobs. Voting them out would be the best outcome of all of this. And that is something that I would absolutely love to see. Temu Carrie Lake. I love that. That is, I want to use. I want to use it if I ever do that segment on this lady again. Temu Carrie Lake is absolutely what I would call her. I love that. Yes, the news about Justin Eichhorn is effing hilarious. Absolutely, it is. It's good to have that guy off the street. And by the way, there are some of you that asked me about what a nunce is. And it's basically a slang term for a PDF file. Okay. So trying to make sure not to get myself in trouble on YouTube. And that segment still got demonetized, which is not at all surprising. Oh, you had me there in the first part, Jonathan. We need the business acumen of Trump and Musk to save the country. Their businesses are booming. Name anyone else that can open up their mouth and throw billions away like those guys. There you go. Had me there in the first round, okay, in the first half. Moving on, let's go to next segment here. Talk about some more trolling, because I love a good troll. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is traveling the country and is trolling Elon Musk while doing it. During a stop in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, the former vice presidential candidate held a town hall to take questions from the crowd, as well as to poke fun at Tesla's falling stock value.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, and take out, just telling you.
That's the Tim Walz that we needed on the campaign trail. It's what we needed, but this is Walz before the consultants came in to muzzle him. Okay. Now, look, here's the thing. In response to question about Social Security, Walz also promoted universal health care, saying, quote, "They're going to call us names no matter what we do, so just do it." Yes, Medicare for all. He said the Democrats are going to have to do it. They're going to have to do it. And I agree. It's what we should have done all along. Had we done so, perhaps, I don't know, we wouldn't be in this situation. I imagine making people's lives better, providing health care that is cheaper. Oh my God. You'd get so many votes. So many votes. Of course, the problem is Democratic consultants and the donor class will not allow this to happen. But anyway, now Musk, of course, responded to this little jab, saying, "Sometimes when I need a boost, I look at the J.D. Vance portrait in the White House and thank the Lord." Yes, of course. Who is not comforted by this image of our great vice president? I feel the comfort already. Praise Jesus. Yeah, I mean, that really should replace his official portrait. Okay, so, but now, here's the thing, to get to a serious point. Tesla stocks are absolutely cratering, okay? Just over the last month, Tesla stock experienced a rapid unscheduled disassembly, losing about 34.6% of their stock value over the last month. Okay, according to the NASDAQ Composite, Tesla ended Wednesday at $235 a share. Now, it's still worth a lot, more than I believe it should be, but has dropped from $479 a share, which is his highest point, and ultimately has lost over $800 billion in value. So he is losing money. They are losing money. Board members are dumping their shares. Even Elon Musk's own brother is dumping his shares. Okay, so they're not doing very well. And by the way, speaking of the board members, they're telling Musk, for the love of God, please come back. Okay, stop doing whatever the hell you're doing and come back and actually run the business. Ross Gerber, one of Tesla's earlier investors, has come out and said, hey, Musk, either you start committing to running the business again or get out. Just get out. In an interview with Sky News Business Live, Gerber said that Musk's growing responsibilities have made him, quote, too divisive to lead the company. He also said that currently the company is in absolute crisis. Wow, they're doing well. Quote, I think Tesla needs a new CEO. The business has been neglected for too long. There are too many important things Tesla is doing. So either Elon should come back and focus entirely on Tesla, or he should step down and let someone else lead. He added, the company's reputation has been destroyed by Elon Musk. Sales are plummeting. You literally can't sell the best product in the market because the CEO is so divisive. Now, I'm gonna challenge the idea that this is the best product on the market. I mean, we have the Wink Panzer, aka Cybertruck, which has just faced yet another recall. Over 46,000 Wink Panzers have been, the entirety of how many have been sold in the United States, they have all been recalled. All of them. Why? The trim is literally falling off. Okay? They're falling apart. You got these cars that are falling apart. This is both hilarious, but also kind of dangerous because you got pieces of these trucks that are falling off in the middle of the road where someone could hit them. So that's not good. So they had to do a complete recall. And by the way, this is the 8th recall for this car that has been since it has been released. So I think Elon Musk has some other more pressing worries right now. Okay? That said, getting back to Walz here, he's going around the country and he's going to Republican districts that their own representatives are ignoring. And I think that's a great strategy. I think that's smart. You got Tim Walz, you got Bernie Sanders, you got AOC, and I definitely want to see them start to, I don't know, collaborate with each other. Wouldn't that be nice? And the reason that they're doing this, of course, is for one, you don't have Republicans that are going to their own town halls anymore because they're getting yelled at, they're getting booed. And so, yeah, you got Democrats that are showing up instead, and that's great. Now, the other thing, though, and the other reason I think that it's so smart is because, let's be honest, you can't trust media. I mean, yeah, MSNBC, ain't nobody in the middle of Eau Claire, okay, or the middle of some of these other places where these raucous town halls have been happening. Not a lot of people are watching MSNBC or CNN. Okay, so you got to get out to those places and start talking to people in person. Okay, you got to go right into the hearts of these places, into these areas, and to start being honest. Okay, and they're being honest about, especially Walz, about why his ticket didn't win. Okay, Walz told the Journal Sentinel that the campaign had failed to represent enough change to turn out the number of voters that were needed to defeat Donald Trump. And he's absolutely right about that. According to The Hill, instead of attempting to show a clear break between herself and former President Joe Biden, the Harris campaign, as well as Biden's aides, decided that, needed to show no daylight between them. Oh, almost everywhere she went, Harris walked among former Biden aides who sought to defend his presidency. The excerpt published by The Hill said, to the extent that she, Harris, wanted to forge her own path, Biden had no interest in giving her the room to do so. Now, this is according to a book by Jonathan Allen and Amy Parnas. okay, he would publicly say that Harris must do what she should to win. But privately, including in conversations with her, he repeated that there must be no daylight between us. This is, just disastrous, okay? According to the authors, no longer able to defend his own record, he expected Harris to protect his legacy. Whether she won or lost the election, he thought, she would only harm him by publicly distancing herself from him, especially during a debate that would be watched by millions of Americans. To the extent that she wanted to forge her own path, Biden had no interest in giving her room to do so. During a phone call, according to the authors, Biden had told Harris, quote, no daylight, kid. So that's it. That right there, yeah, I think that was the death knell of this campaign. Biden wasn't very popular, okay? I know. She had the chance to go in a different direction, okay? But instead, she doubled down on protecting Biden's legacy. That legacy is being absolutely shredded right now by Donald Trump. So there it is. Look, I love the honesty from Tim Walz, and I love the strategy. Making fun of Republicans, going to their own districts and making fun of Republicans. It's great. Showing people how small they are, okay? And most importantly, boosting populist, progressive policy. This is exactly what Democratic voters want to see and what they should have seen during this election, okay? And also, by the way, it's also populist policy, which is popular among both parties. So we should have seen more of it. And yeah, it might be a little too late now, but I'm glad Walz is going back to what I think made him a great pick in the first place, which is boosting that policy that is aimed at making everyone's lives better. Okay. The people want left policies like universal health care. Indeed. Indeed. All right. Let's move on to anti-trans hysteria. A Republican bill in Arkansas is literally targeting hairdressers. Arkansas State Representative Mary Bentley recently introduced HB 1668, which is called the Vulnerable Youth Protection Act, which, according to the ACLU of Arkansas, weaponizes civil enforcement by permitting lawsuits against any person who supports gender-affirming care. So, yeah. Or by even affirming young people in their transitions. Minors or their parents can sue for minimum damages of $10,000 and up to $10 million in punitive damages for certain forms of care. The bill also allows Arkansas parents to sue people or medical providers outside of the state who help Arkansas youth access gender-affirming care. Now, what does this have to do with hairdressers? Well, Arkansas's proposed law targets anyone who might support or affirm a young person's social transition, i.e., not medical. The bill defines social transition as any act by which a minor adopts or espouses a gender identity that differs from the minor's biological sex, including without limitation changes in clothing, pronouns, hairstyle, and name. As the ACLU of Arkansas noted, if enacted, HB 1668 could lead to frivolous lawsuits against hairdressers who cut a trans teen's hair, teachers who use a student's chosen name, and nonprofits that offer support. Such lawsuits, the organization says, would be unlikely to hold up in court, as the First Amendment guarantees the right to free speech and free expression. two things the right wing absolutely does not believe in. No, they don't believe in it at all. Describing the bill as state-mandated bullying, the ACLU of Arkansas writes, HB 1668 fosters a climate of fear, where doctors, teachers, and even parents risk financial ruin simply for supporting transgender youth. It is a blatant overreach of government power, attempting to control private decisions and to circumvent our constitutional rights, including free speech, religious exercise, due process, and equal protection. And that, of course, is the point. They want to erase transgender people completely. I mean, that's what one of Donald Trump's original, executive orders has already done, to erase them, to say, oh, no, there's only two sexes now. Oh, okay. So, yes, erasing them. Look, this is not about protecting children. There are no children that are being transed, okay? That's the reality of the situation. It is just a way to erase them from society. And this is going to get so ridiculous that they're going to go after boys with long hair. Okay, they're going to be attacked as being trans. Imagine if this happened in the 1980s. You realize how many dudes would be accused of being transgender? Okay, I mean, come on. Well, not all of us lived through the 80s. But some of us did. Okay, the insanity that we're facing now is a result of anti-trans hysteria. And of course, a lot of it is unconstitutional, and they even admit it. During a Tuesday, March 18th hearing before the Arkansas House Judiciary Committee, a representative from the state attorney general's office admitted that, as written, HB 1668 cannot be legally defended, particularly as it comes to the conduct that other individuals are allowed to have towards minors that can be deemed to be aiding in their social transitioning. Things like a haircut, even clothing, or even the use of pronouns. That's all speech. And so our concern there is that when you are criminalizing, or in this case, providing a civil cause of action for certain forms of speech, that has to pass a very, very high constitutional bar. And we have to be able to defend that in court. And I think of this bill as it currently is, we can't do that. Part of your free speech, everybody. Whatever happened to this notion of freedom? I mean, they don't believe in it. Apparently, for them, it just means guns for everyone, but no pronouns. No pronouns. Okay, I feel like if you want to make that trade-off, guns for everyone, but no pronouns, it might not go well for the people who are trying to ban the pronouns. I'm just saying. This is all incredibly stupid. All to just go after less than 1% of the population. I feel like people's brains are so cooked, right? From listening to too much Joe Rogan or too much Tucker Carlson, these people. Right-wing media in general is just a massive dumpster fire filled with anti-trans hatred. Because, unfortunately, that's what sells. It is what gets the clicks now. There's a reason Fox News and right-wing media spent a lot of money and a lot of time on this issue. Fox News, recently, I reported that they spent at least 50% more time covering Donald Trump's anti-trans executive orders than on MSNBC and CNN. These people are absolutely obsessed with a tiny group of people that are just trying to live their lives. And they're doing this stuff. And the irony here is, of course, it is going to harm cis people, especially women and girls who might look a little too masculine for some people's tastes. Girls with pixie cuts. They're going to be stopped in the bathrooms. They already are, for looking a little too male. That's right. Cops are busting into women's restrooms, looking for the trans people. It's gotten so insane. And this bill is just another example of how insane it's actually gotten. Okay. Moving on. The Trump administration is literally taking people off the street and throwing them in jail, accusing them of being terrorists. The newest victim here is a Georgetown University postdoctoral fellow named Badar Khan Suri, an Indian national here on a J1 student visa. So now Suri was detained by the Department of Homeland Security on charges of aiding terrorism. Terrorism. What evidence do they have?
Just forget about the evidence.
Oh, okay. Yes, there we go. Now, in a letter obtained by CNN, Georgetown University interim president Robert Groves told the board of directors, quote, "We are not aware of him engaging in any illegal activity, and we have still not received a reason for his detention." Well, it's because there is no reason. No reason other than the fact that he is brown. I kid you not. That is 100% the reason. Okay. Oh, he's brown. Well, that should be, that's reason enough. I mean, that's it. He's a student on a college campus. Okay. Now, Suri's family, of course, hasn't been giving any information about his detention, just that he's in Louisiana. We know about as much as anyone else, said his sister, which is what is reported in the media. We are currently confused about how and why this is happening to him. Suri's family is praying for him, but are not afraid because they said he hasn't done anything wrong, which is true, but he's a brown person in America, and that's apparently enough. She said, "There are a few people in this world who are like him." Well, you don't have to do anything wrong under the Trump regime to get snatched off the street if you are brown, and if you are happening to, post against the country of Israel, something negative or even positive towards Palestinians, that is enough for them to try to come after you. And that's what happened. DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin said in a Wednesday post that Suri was, quote unquote, actively spreading Hamas propaganda and promoting anti-Semitism on social media. Suri has close connections to a known or suspected terrorist who is a senior advisor to Hamas. Now, that's not true. Okay. McLaughlin added that Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Little Marco, had issued a determination on Saturday that Suri's activities and presence in the United States rendered him deportable under an obscure legal statute that gives the Secretary of State authority to act if he or she believes a non-citizen would have potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences for the United States. Oh, come on. This guy. Oh, yeah, it's got serious adverse foreign policy consequences for the country. That is why we must snatch him in the middle of the night and deport him. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Hassan Ahmad, Suri's attorney, told CNN that his client is in Louisiana awaiting his hearing, and said that he spoke to him on Wednesday night. Quote, "I will say that seeing our government abduct and jail another innocent person is beyond contemptible. If an accomplished scholar who focuses on conflict resolution is whom the government decides is bad for foreign policy, then perhaps the problem is with the government, not the scholar." Now, I love that quote because, yeah, that's exactly the point. Okay. He is for conflict resolution. The Trump administration is for more conflict. That's the reality. I mean, under Trump, the ceasefire fell apart in Gaza. And Trump is bombing the Houthis in Yemen and is trying to start a war with Iran. And so a pro-peace president, right? No, not a pro-peace president at all. Okay. Look, we got some major issues with our government. They're literally stealing people off the street and are accusing them of being Hamas. Which is funny because Hamas has never attacked us. I don't remember when Hamas attacked the United States. So how are they an enemy to us? I have no idea. Again, our extremist government is abducting innocent people and are holding them as political prisoners. It is absolutely deplorable. It is disgusting. And they feel like they can do this. Why? I mean, Donald Trump feels like he can do anything, and that's Supreme Court giving him immunity and Project 2025, of course. But you also have some blame towards the Democrats. You have Democrats that crushed protests that are pro-peace, okay, accusing them of being Hamas for being against the genocide in Gaza. So you have that. You have people like Fetterman, okay, who are, basically being given by Netanyahu a pager. No, don't take the pager. Well, actually, maybe you should take the pager, because of that early story of pagers literally exploding. No, some of these Democrats, unfortunately, a lot of Democrats are staunch supporters of Israel. Either that, or they're afraid of being primaried by AIPAC. Okay, that has funded a lot of very successful primary challenges against progressives. So you have that. Okay, and so yeah, you have a lot of staunch supporters of Israel in the Democratic Party as well, and then a lot of people who claim to support Jews and Israel on the right wing, which actually is really just defending a very, very right-wing conservative government in Israel, and that's who's in power right now. So I'd be shocked if anyone in the Democratic Party spoke out in favor of Syria and against Donald Trump being allowed to snatch people off the street for no reason. And again, it's sad because his detention is completely indefensible when you look into the details. Completely indefensible, but they're doing it anyway. And that's how you know we have a lawless government. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, with that, that's all I got for you today. Thank you for watching. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Very important that you do so. Sign up, become a channel member or a patron, patreon.com/jeffwaldorf. It goes to help keep the show in the air, so we can actually do and report these stories. And so the fight against that massive right-wing media presence that is rotting everyone else's brains. So, sucks. But yes, I will have to go. I will be back here tomorrow, so on the live stream, if you're watching live. And of course, you also have ways that you can listen here. You can listen on our Patreon. That is a audio only file, so you can go and download that, listen to it whenever. With that, sorry guys, gotta go. Be here tomorrow, right here around 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern. All right, so we'll see you back here. Take care of yourselves, your families, and all that, and we'll see you back here.